Clay here with Flat Fee Landlord to give you the last piece on how to get your home rented fast. Now we've already gone over how to market and advertise your home correctly to make sure that you are getting people through the door. And lastly, we have already gone over a little bit of how to properly get an inspection on the home to make sure that you have a great idea of the overall condition before those tenants move in. Now what happens in between those steps is the qualification process. You want to make sure you do run a really good background. At the end of the day, you don't know these people other than the information they submitted to originally set up a tour and what they have on paper. So you want to make sure everything that you do have available to you is going to give you as much of a roadmap as what to expect when they are living in the property. Alright, so you got an application, that's awesome. Don't jump the gun just yet though. You want to make sure you qualify this tenant as strictly as possible to make sure that you are going to receive rent every single month on time for the entirety of the lease. We maintain a less than 1% eviction rate, and it's because we do screen our tenants very rigorously to ensure that all of these things do happen. First and foremost, with the initial application, we do want to collect at least 3 months of pay stubs so that you know there is a track record of consistent income. Number two, we do make sure that each applicant does have at least a 650 credit score or higher. That ensures responsible borrowing behavior. Essentially, rental is them borrowing your home for an agreed lease term. Number three, we want to check the criminal history and ensure there are no issues with that. Now, last but not least, you want to reach out to the previous landlords that they have had and ensure good tenure at those rentals as well. All right, the background checks out. That's awesome. The next step is getting the lease out. Two things you want to make sure of before you send the lease out. First and foremost, you are both in agreement with everything that's going to be written into the lease. The time of the lease, the monthly payment that the tenant will be paying to you, and the date in which that is going to be paid. Once you're in agreement with that, you want to collect either a first month's rent or a security deposit or both to make sure the tenant is prepared to offer you all of these things to ensure that this is going to be a smooth transition moving forward. Now, what you're going to want to do is make sure that if you have a realtor placing the tenant for you, that they're providing you with the lease that you're going to sign with the tenant. Now, if you go with Flat Fee Landlord, we'll provide a lease for you as well, and it's not going to be just your standard jurisdictional lease. It's going to also have language that our attorneys have prepared to make sure that you as the landlord are as protected as possible. Last but not least, guys, the move-in. Now, this is going to be very important because this is going to be sort of your last first impression to put onto the tenants once they're moving into the home. As I mentioned with getting the home ready for renting, you want to make sure it's completely cleaned up. Number two, you want to make sure any small issues in the home are already taken care of. You don't want any 3 a.m. calls saying, hey, my toilet's not flushing. I know that we don't want to do that. That's why we make sure we take care of it on the front end so it's not an issue moving forward. Then also make sure all the keys that you provide them are working, and that if they have any other questions before you leave the home, you get everything hashed out so that way your tenant's going to enjoy moving into the home and hopefully the entirety of their lease. All right, everybody, that pretty much takes care of it for making sure that you have a qualified tenant moving into your home. For a more detailed description of everything that we can do for you to make sure that this isn't even an issue, give us a call. Subscribe for some more videos. Make sure you check out another video of how you can get started with Flat Fee Landlord Services, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care.